When a man struts too loud, he forgets who keeps the house alive. Aunt Nancy say, long before anybody had clocks glowing on their walls, long before streetlights told folks when to come home, there lived a man known for one thing only, his noise. He crowed at dawn like he invented sunrise. He crowed at noon because he liked attention. He crowed at night simply because silence made him nervous. Chest puffed out, shoulders high, feathers of pride shining on him even though he wasn't a bird at all. Folks in the village didn't bother learning his real name. They called him Rooster Man, and he accepted it like a title from the ancestors. But the women in the village knew the truth. They whispered it while grinding grains, while braiding hair, while stirring pots. They said, without that wife of his, that man wouldn't know east from west. His wife kept the hearth burning. His wife kept the house steady. His wife remembered birthdays, healed bruises, tended gardens, soothed egos, managed children, carried the emotional weight of 3 households, and still found the strength to comfort the man who did little more than crow. But she didn't brag, didn't strut, didn't announce her importance to the sky. She simply lived her competence, and the house knew her touch. One snowy evening, wind howling like spirits outside, the Rooster Man thumped his chest and declared, I am the dawn in this home. Nothing moves unless I command it. His wife didn't argue. She just stirred the pot slowly, her eyes tired but patient. Outside, perched on an ancient stone ledge, dusted in frost, Aunt Nancy watched with a tilt of her head. Her white blonde locks glowed in the moonlight, and the spider beside her spun quiet circles, waiting. She muttered. Man talking like he built the sunrise. Let him learn. Aunt Nancy tapped the stone twice, calling on old truth, old justice, the old lesson men rarely want but always need. When a rooster forgets who keeps the fire, the whole house grows cold. And so she settled in to watch the fall of his foolishness. The rooster crowed, but the house stopped listening. The storm settled in deep, blue and heavy. Snow gathered at the door like it wanted to come inside. The world felt small, wrapped in winter's breath. Inside, the fire flickered, then dimmed, then nearly died. The Rooster Man noticed nothing. He strutted room to room, feathers of pride still gleaming in his imagination. He bragged about his authority. He recited made-up titles. He preached to children who had long stopped listening. Meanwhile, his wife, keeper of warmth, guardian of home, set down the wooden spoon, slowly, calmly, purposefully. She folded her hands in her lap. And when the woman who holds the hearth folds her hands, even the ancestors hold their breath. The house shifted, the fire thinned, the air cooled, but she said nothing. The children wrapped blankets around themselves. The wife adjusted her shawl. Even the walls seemed to lean inward, waiting. But Rooster Man? He kept crowing. What's wrong with this fire? He barked. Why isn't it rising with my voice? I command this house to obey. Aunt Nancy nearly fell off the ledge, laughing. You command nothing, she whispered, not even your own breath. She leaned forward, her silhouette blending with the spiderwebs forming behind her, voice sharper than frost. When a woman withdraws her warmth, the house follows her, not you. Still, he didn't see it, couldn't see it, wouldn't see it. He blamed the wood, he blamed the snow, he blamed the children's breathing, he blamed everything but his own arrogance. Hours passed. Cold crept into his bones. His feathers drooped. His crow softened. His pride cracked like clay left too long in the sun. Finally, for the first time in years, Rooster Man sat down. Truly sat. Not to command, not to preach, but because he had nothing left to stand on. He looked at his wife. She did not look back. And that cut deeper than any winter. It took him a moment to understand. The house wasn't cold. The fire wasn't weak. The spirits weren't angry. The woman who carried the warmth had set her burden down. And he was left in the silence he created. Near midnight, when the storm raged loud enough to swallow the whole world, the Rooster Man finally grew quiet. Not because he understood, oh no, wisdom hadn't touched him yet, but because cold has a way of humbling even the proud. He looked at his wife sitting by the fire, no flames, only the soft glow of dying embers, and for the very first time, he saw something that pierced straight through his pride. She wasn't angry. She was finished. A deeper cold settled in his chest, one no blanket could warm. He cleared his throat, voice small. "Wife, teach me." She lifted her eyes slowly, steady as stone. "Teach you what?" He swallowed. "Teach me how to keep the fire. I see now. I never knew." Outside the window, Aunt Nancy leaned in close, her white blonde locks dusted with snow, her grin bright and sharp. "Well, look at that," she whispered to the spider beside her. "The rooster finally remembered he ain't the sun." Inside, the wife rose without a word. She moved past him, not angry, not hurried, just certain. She lifted a few small pieces of wood. She placed them with care, as she'd done 1,000 times with no thanks. She leaned close and breathed a single gentle breath. And the fire answered. It returned with a quiet, steady flame that said, "I live because she calls me, not you." Warmth spread through the house. The children relaxed. The storm outside softened, as if even the wind acknowledged the shift. The Rooster Man bowed his head, not to his own importance this time, but to the truth standing in front of him. From that night forward, the house changed. Not because he suddenly became wise, but because the wife reclaimed her place without apologizing for it. And Aunt Nancy? She tapped the frosted stone ledge in approval, laughter catching on the winter air. "Let this be a reminder," she said as she vanished into the snow. "Fire belongs to the one who tends it. Warmth follows the woman who honors herself. And no rooster ever outruns the truth a wise woman already knows."